Hello, hello, hello. What is up? It is Doug. I'm Doug. I am Doug, and this is Persona 5. Last time we got a job, and that's about all we did. We studied at the library too. You cannot discount that fact. But yeah, we didn't do a whole lot. I made some politically charged topics. I talked about the Hong Kong protests. Don't let YouTube know. Might ruin my chances of getting 2 cents. Yeah, who am I kidding? I'm not even getting monetized anyways. But yeah, so Persona 5, we're back at it again. And we got a text message from Ryuji. Probably gonna learn a little bit more about him, see what's going on, because last time we hung out with him, last 2 times, we had some clashes with the track team, and he's mentioned some things. I pieced together that, something happened with his leg. I'm guessing it had something to do with Kamoshida. Kamoshida coaxed him to attack or something, and I think that's kind of what happened. I don't know if that's just been stated yet, so maybe, but I like that's just what's the subtext has been, so that's kind of what I'm seeing. But yeah, we're gonna hang out with Ryuji and stuff and go from there. Hey, what are you doing right now? Yeah, just having to wait doesn't jive with me. I'm at the arcade in Shibuya. Let me know if anything comes up. Seems like Ryuji's in Shibuya. Want to hang out with him for a bit? Go right away. Got it. So, will I go to my job after this? Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, I can't see more of the arcade. ATM. Oh, okay, yeah. Wow, this lets you choose how to get change. Seems useful when each game costs different amounts. Oh boy. I haven't been to the arcade in a while. There's this really cool one by this mall that I drive by on the way to school every day, and I need to go again. It's just, you never have enough money for that kind of stuff.
Oh, hey.
We beat Kamoshida and all, but I still feel nervous. I guess we just gotta wait and see what happens. Yo, what do you think about training a bit? We're getting rusty if we don't keep ourselves active. I don't think my bond with Ryuji will deepen just yet, so what do you... Yeah, let's hang out with him.
Wanna get going?
Okay. Okay, let me redo that. Okay, go get changed. We're gonna do some jogging today, but we're at the arcade. We could train our shooting skills or something. Why do we have to run? I mean, I love running, but man, I want to go to the arcade. Ryuji seems satisfied. I think he had a pretty fulfilling workout. I don't think my bond with Ryuji will deepen just yet. Oh, see ya. You know what, Joker's same. I was gonna criticize you for making, oh boy, will my bond deepen? But it's I think about that too sometimes. It's this weird thing where it's it's not tomorrow's the board meeting. Oh boy. Well, I was expecting to get a full day out of all this, but dang, no. We're gonna, I guess this is the episode, the day of fate. Don't worry, I'm sure the change of heart worked. And it's text time. The board meeting's tomorrow, right? We're gonna get expelled if Kamoshida doesn't have a change of heart by then. I'm sure he will. We did all we could. Either way, I'm not going to lose hope. You're right. It's a little too early to be giving up now. Guess we're gonna find out one way or the other tomorrow. We just gotta brace ourselves for all the possibilities. I'm sorry I can't offer more reassurance, but he should have the change of heart. Let's just believe in that while we wait for tomorrow. I really like this cast. This is 3 of them are really well-defined characters, and I like them. I was a little iffy with Morgana because I heard the mascot party members in Persona games, because that's a thing apparently, are a little iffy, but I like Morgana. He seems like a person, not just a cute little kitty cat, which, if he was just a cute little kitty cat, don't get me wrong, I would love. But I like that he's got character and there's a compassionate side to him, because his, I think, introduction kind of portrays him to be a little know-it-all above it, and, the spats between him and Ryuji are kind of meh, I don't know, it's just rubs me a little the wrong way. I feel like there's gonna be some pointless conflict between the 2 of them later or something. I don't know, just things I foresee. And I like I like Morgana though. It's like the same thing, kind of like with what's it? The same thing with An. It's like, her writing kind of leaves me feeling meh, but I want to see more because I want to see where they go with it, because I'm hopeful it's gonna go to a good place. Yeah. So, but yeah, there was this thought that I wanted to finish on before we talk to Sojiro and call it a night. But I was, I was gonna make fun of Joker for, the whole like, will my bond deepen kind of thing. But it's like, I don't have to worry about like a game mechanic kind of thing in real life. But there's always that kind of weird fear you have that is the time I'm spending with a person actually meaningful and it doesn't like matter kind of thing. Because it's like, it's, at least for me, it's very easy to feel like the things I'm doing with someone is frivolous, that I could be doing more for them, I could be helping them more, I could be, in game terms, deepening my bond, just, like, and it sounds horrible, but I guess it's just more like, I wonder if, like, the time I'm spending with a person really matters to them, and, because it's so easy to, it kind of, I was talking about that whole time management thing. I talked about it with, back when we were in the palace, talking about like how to get through, I don't know, like how sometimes it's just like you don't have enough time to do things, and the time you do spend is so much more valuable. And that was in regards to, me losing a fight and having to start over, which, I still think is like a really huge design flaw with this game that I wish they would have fixed. But then, I was also talking about time management and stuff, like, I think last episode or last couple episodes where, it's definitely something I'm noticing now, like, it just doesn't feel like you have time, especially with all, like, the responsibilities that you have. And it's just, like, that weird thing where it's, like, the time you have with friends is so important because, people make life worth living, and a lot of times, like, people bring out our best selves. And, you just... And it's this thing that, it doesn't matter, like, what friend group I'm with, where I'm at. Every time I spend time with people, like, it's echoed throughout everyone. It's not just me, I feel. Everyone feels like they don't get to spend enough time with the people that matter to them, and that, the time they do spend feels wasted, Like, there's times when, I'm with my friends, and it's like I get this kind of, like, and it's especially with like my close friends that I've known since I was a kid, really, actually, that like I'm like, okay, we gotta maximize the time we have. We gotta, like, you try to plan and make everything perfect because you don't have a lot of time to hang out, and it's like, and it takes away from the enjoyment of the time. I don't know, it's just like this weird thing where it's like, it's funny, this whole little, like, I was just gonna make a joke about how, Joker's trying to deepen his bonds and stuff, but I think it's just like this, because we're so worried about time and trying to get the most out of our time, we want to feel like the time we spend with someone's worthwhile, like, we're not wasting our time with someone that could be spent with somebody else, too, that's something, because it's this weird, horrible mindset that we kind of have, at least just, I think, culturally in the States, because, I can't speak for Japan, obviously. I mean, this Let's Play is a testament to how, like, I am a dumb foreigner compared to anything in Japan, but just, like, in the States, it's like, I actually read this tweet a couple hours ago, which, perfect timing. It was talking about how emotional labor, we use this word to describe, like, interactions with our friends and family, when no, like, emotional labor is when your job requires you to perform emotionally. It's deeper than that, but that's just like the basic premise. It's emotion brought about by your labor. But, we have this thing where it's like so much, because I think culturally the American experience is to tie your work into your life, it's something that, especially like what I'm studying, like, acting, because it's like, anyone who's acting at least likes it, like, it's not something that people hate, but, there's like, burnout and stuff, because, we tie so much of our identity into what we do for a living, and it's like, I can't criticize anyone for defining themselves as an actor or anything, and that's just, this is from my wheelhouse. I can't speak from, like, if someone's like an engineer or a business student or anything, because, like, naturally, like, I draw happiness from what I do. It's just, it's this thing that, I think culturally we all struggle with, where we see all of our lives as what's the most efficient, what maximizes my quote-unquote profit, be it like monetary or emotional. And it's like something that it's like, this whole series of YouTube videos, Twitch streaming that I do has so helped me just kind of redefine that, because when I started these videos, back with Final Fantasy 1, I tried so hard to be a professional that, like, I was making myself miserable, and you could tell, like, I was trying so hard to say the right thing and, be knowledgeable and, like, make sure that the gameplay would go right, which, trust me, playing Final Fantasy 1, nothing goes right with that. But, like, there's this thing where it's like, I was trying to make it professional so that way I could one day, hopefully be like, okay, like, in a couple months I could make some money off of this, but it's not just going to happen. And I noticed that, and also looking back, when I was streaming, because me and my friends, we streamed with my PlayStation a couple months before I put my first YouTube video out, and that was a stressful time. I had a lot going on in my life at the time, and I noticed I was taking this streaming thing way too seriously, way more seriously than like my friends were. And because because I was in that mindset of like, everything I do has to contribute to my career. I have to do this, I have to do that. And I think part of it is just kind of like comes from just like the field I'm in, because it's this thing where it's a good mindset to try to perform wherever you can, try to make something out of it. I'm gonna start walking around just because you've just been staring at Joker's ass Morgana for the past couple minutes. Yeah, but like, it's like, yeah, look for opportunities, look for ways to perform and get your name out there and stuff. But I realize, like, it's like, you can't just start out being a professional anywhere, and the stress that trying to make it professional and be efficient just kind of took away any enjoyment from it. And I think that contributed to why, like, me and my friends stopped doing it, and why, like, I almost ended the friendship, or at least I had to take a break, because I'm like, this is really stressing me out and pissing me off. And to loop this back around, because it has a point, this has been a hell of a tangent, but I think, culturally, at least in the States, and I don't know about Japan, but from what I have heard, and, take it with a grain of salt, because, I am an ignorant American in a lot of ways. I feel like, from at least like what I heard in Japan, that, it's very work-centric. Same in the States, two complete parallels. It's like, we're so obsessed with the dollar and being efficient with our time that, things like friendships turn into investments. And that's a horrible thing. And, it's like, it's a bit of toxicity that, I need to work on, and it's something I think a lot of people need to work on. And I think the way to work on it is, simply put, just don't worry about it. Because when you... And it's why I brought up the example of my first Let's Play of Final Fantasy 1, which, it's like, I was tempted to delete some of those old videos, but I keep them around just so that way I can, like, be like, hey, like it's like a chapter index, like, go back, look at, chapter 1 Final Fantasy, because when I stopped trying, and that was towards the end of Final Fantasy 1, when I, I still have the notebook, because, God, like, it still has a lot of meaning to me, seeing that notebook, and writing down the notes and stuff, but, like, I started writing less and less and had more and more fun, and then when it came to, like, when I started Kingdom Hearts 1 up, I was like, wow, this is a blast, because, like, it was just coming off the cuff. Like, I had a bunch of notes written for the beginning, and then I just stopped. And, you know, like, I kept some notes just for, like, you know, synth grinding because I know I needed that. But it's like, when you stop trying, that's what makes things the most impactful. And, you know, that's something that I have kind of noticed. You know, especially just with, like, friendships and relationships, you try to manufacture happiness, it's not going to be real. It's not going to last. It's like a perfect example. I have, like, you know, extended family. They love taking pictures and stuff. And they always like these big group pictures, which, you know, completely fine and stuff. But, like, you know, like, I think this is something that my dad brought up. And point to his credit, you know, don't ever tell him I said this. But he brings up a point where it's like, you know, he looks at these pictures and it's like, unless it's been, like, you know, a year where he, like, you know, might have, like, you know, lost some weight or, you know, worked out a little bit more or something, he can't really tell the difference. Like, you know, maybe there's, like, the variety of, like, you know, me and my siblings growing up and stuff, but for the most part, he's like, and he makes a good point, like, you know, when it's just these posed manufactured pictures, it's just, like, that doesn't incite a story, whereas, like, you know, if you get, like, a candid shot of, like, you know, you and your cousin getting drunk and arguing, that's hilarious and that's a fun story. Or, like, you know, getting a picture of when, like, you know, your aunt trips over the dog, and, you know, those actually aren't happening, but those are just, like, you know, haha, manufactured stories and anecdotes. But yeah, it's like, you know, being genuine, and I think that's the hardest thing, like, turning off that whole, like, is this worth it kind of mentality. And, you know, I'm saying we and culturally, and that's just, like, you know, my take on the culture and stuff, and I don't mean everyone's like this, because who am I to speak for everyone, you know, but that's just something I noticed, and that's just something I feel, and, you know, that's just something I spent, like, it has got to have been, like, 10 or 12 minutes of this. Oh boy. So yeah, that's my little spiel. Let's talk to Daddy Sojiro over here and go see what's going on with Kamoshida.
You living an honest life? If you can't turn over a new leaf here, life won't be easy, you know.
Okay. So it's like I'm getting to that 20-minute mark right now, and it's like I'm halfway considering just calling it here. Now, you know what? I'm gonna go upstairs. What we will do is, by the way, the TV you bought was delivered, right? Oh, cool. This CRTV looks like it belongs in this room. It has a tuner so you can watch basic channels, plus it even comes with a DVD player. You think it was a good purchase? Oh, dude, I have this, it's in the basement, I think, right now. But I had this VCR that, well, no, it was a DVD player that's a VCR. So it has, like, the, like, old analog cable, and, like, an old, cable, you know, like, for cable when cable was that, but also has an HDMI, so, like, I could watch my old, because, like, I have Star Wars VHS tapes, I could watch those Star Wars VHS tapes through an HDMI cable on my, like, you know, 720p TV, and it's just, it was so grainy, because it like, you know, 480p wasn't even a thing. It was just like, it was so surreal, and, you know, like, oh god, I'm going on all these tangents, I love it. So what we are gonna do is we are going to, you know,
Let's do it.
yeah, we're gonna save, just in case, because I don't know when that's gonna happen. This might be a longer episode. You'll know by clicking on and watching it. It's like Morgana. Board meetings tomorrow. Can I study? Can I do that? Is that a thing? Oh, I can make a lockpick. Yeah. I guess one thing that I kind of want to brush up on, or at least talk about, yeah, I think that, is there anything else I could make? No, I need to do more missions, dungeons, kind of stuff. But something that I do kind of want to bring up, and I mentioned it, like, you know, because every time I talk about anything, and, like, you know, and I bring up, like, anything that I think is relevant, you know, like, I talk culturally about, like, stuff in the U.S. because, you know, I have my opinions and stuff. Everyone in the U.S. has an opinion, you know, like, I'm not unique there. But, you know, when I try to, because, you know, Persona 5 really brings up a lot of interesting things that makes me go, huh, is it like that there? Like, why is it like that kind of thing, you know? And I always bring up the fact that, you know, I'm stupidly ignorant. Okay, no, that's unfair. I'm just ignorant in the way that a lot of Americans are, because, you know, honestly, it's hard enough to learn about your own country, let alone another one, especially to comment on the culture and stuff. And, you know, just being, like, a person who's consumed a lot of Japanese media, mostly, you know, anime and video games and stuff, it doesn't make you an expert and stuff, but, like, you know, I spent a long time, because I wanted to be an animator, learning about the animation industry in Japan and stuff, and that in turn taught me a lot about, like, cultural norms and stuff, and just stuff. And it's like, you know, I'm not an expert and stuff, you know, people dedicate their whole lives to understanding another culture, and, you know, I always lead off by saying I'm ignorant on it, because I am, even if I know maybe a little bit more than another American, I'm still very ignorant about it. But, you know, it's still, like, I think it's important to express opinions, because, you know, if you're wrong, like, I want to be corrected on these things that I say, you know, like, if maybe Japan isn't as work obsessed as America, and if someone corrects me on that, then I can learn about it. And, you know, but, discussing this, and talking, I guess, about global perspective, I want to kind of, you know, I was thinking about that stupid joke I made about Free Hong Kong yesterday, because, you know, that was just doing over in my head, because it's like, you know, I don't know a whole lot about the situation. I mean, I just know that, you know, from my limited perspective, you know, it seems like the Chinese government is stifling any kind of criticism of themselves, keeping news about the Hong Kong protests quiet, and that, you know, companies like Blizzard and the NBA are silencing people who are speaking out against it, through, you know, like, you know, deplatforming and stuff, things that are technically within their rights as corporate entities, but it's still really shady and disappointing. But, you know, I think it's important to talk about these things, because it's like, if I say something wrong and someone corrects me, and especially in, like, a social media, YouTube sense, and it's out there on the internet, it's out on the web, then, you know, my ignorance can, I guess, like, serve something. And I guess I just kind of wanted to bring that up, because it was something I was feeling weird about, and I didn't want to just, you know, make a joke, a very bad joke, mind you, and just, like, not speak anything about it, because, you know, so many important things happen, and it is easy to feel overwhelmed by all the important things happening, and that's kind of what Hong Kong was for me. You know, when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, there's another protest going on. I've been hearing about these across the world for as long as I can remember, and it's easy to kind of just think about, okay, another on the list, and, you know, you just forget about it because life keeps you busy, and, you know, God, I've been talking about that for 20 minutes now. But it's like, it's important to talk about these things, and, you know, I guess I don't want to feel ashamed for being ignorant and stuff, and, you know, if some of my jokes are in poor taste, I have said this for as long as I have been making these videos, call me out and correct me, except for puns, you know, well, unless, you know, a pun is, like, stepping on toes and being hurtful, then, you know, call me out on a pun. But yeah, it's like, you know, I think it's important to talk about these things, so, you know, and, like, you know, yeah, saying, like, hashtag Free Hong Kong willy-nilly might do some disservice to the cause and just, like, the idea behind it. And it's like, you know, I would have been ignorant of this still if I hadn't, you know, like, seeing, like, the incident with Blizzard and stuff, didn't, you know, raise my awareness of it even more. But I think that's kind of the thing. You know, I think you need to take every opportunity to better yourself and to become more knowledgeable about things as you go. And I guess it's just, like, I guess this is my, like, formally saying that, well, it's just amusing, you know, like, I didn't have a point with this tangent. I never really do. But it's, like, something I wanted to talk about and muse a little about. And I guess that's, I kind of stand by it. Like, you know, it's not just a joke. you know, you gotta, I think, you know, you gotta say what you think is right and be willing to accept consequences and hopefully learn from it if you're wrong. I don't think it's wrong for saying free Hong Kong. But, you know, I'm ignorant about a lot of it, and I think it's something that I owe it to myself and others to learn more. Especially just because, you know, interacting with the internet and putting something out there, I think if you're going to voice an opinion on the internet, you should totally take it upon yourself to learn more. Like, you know, especially like with the coming, you know, U.S. presidential election, which, you know, last one was so much fun. But the last one, you know, there was something where I was just so frustrated with people who were posting these opinions, and I kind of was one of them. And it's like, you know, the people would say something, and they just wouldn't check it, and they wouldn't want to check it. And, you know, because it's like this weird thing where, you know, like, I am not one to critique this, but people will say and just kind of vent using the internet however they can, and, you know, like, that's what these things are for me, in a way. But, you know, I think venting is good, but I think you should also have the intention of, like, if you're going to express an opinion, being open enough to learn from it. Like, if you're going to say and take a stance, you owe it not just to defend it, but to understand it. Especially if you are coming from a place of ignorance like I am with a lot of things. But anyways, that's that. This is proficiency. This is proficiency 5. No, this is Persona 5. Let's go to bed. It's 1 a.m. I'm kind of feeling you on that one, Morgana, little buddy. Yikes. This has just been a video of, wow. What a video, huh?
This is no good.
God, these are such a drag. That they are, my friend. But unfortunately, this is where we're gonna call it, because honestly, this is a perfect stopping point, and who knew me talking for so long could just, you know, give me all the time I need. This is pushing 27 minutes, and honestly, I do not want a super long video like this to, I don't know, you know, like, I'm learning, I'm getting better, but, you know, it's fun just kind of voicing my opinions and airing my thoughts and stuff, so, thanks for watching, man. It's been a blast, and I hope you take care of yourself. My name is Doug, and I'm happy you're here.